Mic is good. Thank you. Whoops, these are not my... these are Maharaj's. I need a set of kartals. Can you give me a set of kartals? All right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallava Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivaradari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Nana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Kunja Bihari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavrikacharya Terasata Shishimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, text number 35. And we're now reading the prayers of the Nagapatnis. Tapasu taptam kimanena purvam nirastamanena chamanadena Dharmotavav sarva jananukampaya yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva tapasu taptam kimanena purvam nirastamanena chamanadena Dharmotava sarva jananukampaya yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva tapasu taptam kimanena purvam nirastamanena chamanadena Dharmotava sarva jananukampaya yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva Yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva. Tapasutaptam kimanuna purvam. Nirastamanena chamanadena. Dharmotasa sarva jananukampaya. Yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva. Tataptasuptam kimanena purvam. Nirastamanena chamanadena. Dharmotasa sarva jananukampaya. Yato bhavam tushyati sarva jiva. Tapaha. Austerity. Sutaptam. Properly performed. Kim. What? Anena. By this Kaliya. Purvam. In previous lives. Nirastamanena. Being free from false pride. Cha. And. Manadena. Giving respect to others. Dharma. Religious duty. Atava. Or else. Sarvajana. To all persons. Anukampaya. With compassion. Yataha. By which. Bhavan. Your good self. Tushyati. Is satisfied. Sarvajivaha. The source of life for all beings. Translation by the servants of Srila Prabhupada. Did our husband carefully perform austerities in a previous life, with his mind free of pride and full of respect for others? Is that why you are pleased with him? Or did he, in some previous existence, carefully execute religious duties with compassion for all living beings? And is that why you, the life of all living beings, are now satisfied with him? Please repeat. Did our husband carefully perform austerities in a previous life, with his mind free of pride and full of respect for others? Is that why you are pleased with him? Or did he, in some previous existence, carefully execute religious duties with compassion for all living beings? And is that why you, the life of all living beings, are now satisfied with him? And in this case we can say purport by Srila Prabhupada, because that's what it is. In this regard, Srila Prabhupada comments in his Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Volume 1, Chapter 16. The Nagapatnis confirm that one cannot come in contact with Krishna without having executed pious activities in devotional service in one's previous lives. As Lord Chaitanya advised in his Shikshastika, one has to execute devotional service by humbly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, and not expecting honor for oneself, but offering all kinds of honor to others. The Nagapatnis were astonished that, although Kaliya had the body of a serpent as the result of grievous sinful activities, at the same time he was in contact with the Lord to the extent that the Lord's lotus feet were touching his hoods. Certainly, this was not the ordinary result of pious activities. These two contradictory facts astonished them. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanan Ganan Shalakaya Shakshu Umyatangyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yen Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamanitanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Macharani Nirvasesa Shunyavani Prasachadeshtarni Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. These two contradictory facts astonish them, that he's such a demon, that he's exhibiting the results of previous sinful activity. At the same time, he's got God, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, kicking him in the head. And so therefore, the question is, what kind of previous activities were performed? And it's interesting because Srila Prabhupada's purport here, which is coming from the Krishna book, echoes the previous acharyas. For this verse, there are two tikas. One is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's, which actually in some ways Prabhupada's is a little closer to, but the other, which is Jiva Goswami's, may cast a little light, even more light, upon Prabhupada's point here. But the idea being that we see two things going on here. He's very sinful. There's no question about it. He's vomiting poison. He's a snake. Sometimes we've heard that he's a demon. He's like a black. This is really a black snake. Very, very demoniac qualities. At the same time, he's getting Krishna's mercy, and this is not some sort of a coincidence or causeless. I mean, we call it causeless mercy, but there are some origins here. So here I'll read Srila Jiva Goswami's comments. Did he previously perform austerities perfectly, devoid of pride, giving all respect to others? Thinking that those two austerities and other optional ones as well would not satisfy the Lord, they gave other alternatives to the Nagapatnis. He must have performed his dharmas daily, having stated the essential nature of the item. They then elaborate on this. He did acts beneficial for others with complete dedication in previous lives, since in this life that was impossible. He couldn't do it in this life. So it's obviously he did it in another life. As Kaliya, he wasn't doing anything positive. Because of these two actions, which were done to satisfy you, Krishna, you who all jivas are satisfied with in this life, he accomplished satisfying you by showing respect and compassion to all jivas. So this idea of offering respects to all others, even those who aren't devotees, all jivas, is what it apparently is what Jiva Goswami is saying here, that he's done his dharmas in previous life, Kaliya. But it wasn't just doing the dharmas, it was the fact that he pleased the Lord. Because without pleasing the Lord, just doing some sort of karma kanda or some dharmic activity is not going to actually provide the samskaras for one to become a devotee. Because as we know that bhakti does not arise from material activities, but bhakti is arising from bhakti. Bhakti arises from the mercy of a pure devotee. And in that light, we can turn to chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 27 and 28. Because these two verses, they do provide some insight into the situation we find ourselves in and into the remedy that's provided by the Supreme Lord. And, of course, in the Prabhupada's purports, it's elucidated even more clearly. So verse number 27, chapter 7. Icha dvesha samutena, dvanva mohena bharata, sarva bhutani sammoham, sarge yanti parantapa. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by the dualities arisen from desire and hate. So we should understand icha dvesha, a desire and hate, samutena, arisen. So our existence in this material world is driven by this bewilderment which arises from desire and hate. Even if we smile a lot, and we're nice, and we do good things, the essence below everything else is desire for our own personal sense gratification, and hate. Hate for Krishna, bahirmukha, we turn away from Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. So that's our real position. Our real position is to have our heads kicked by the Lord, in a sense, like Kaliya. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Prabhupada at the end of the purport says, these are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see people wandering around. They can't understand anything because they're overcome by the dualities of desire and hate, and there is no way to change that in a material sense. You can give in charity, you can become a, quote, good person, you can become pious, you can do all these things, but that will not implant the seed of bhakti in the heart. The seed of bhakti in the heart has to come from a transcendental source, and therefore we read the next verse, Yesham twanta gatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanva moha nirmukta bhajanti mam dridafrada. Persons who have acted previously who acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So, punya karmanam, jananam, punya karmanam, of persons, punya, pious karmanam, previous activities. Now, this, and they have to do this with drita vrata, so with real determination. But the point being here is not that they're just simply pious activities, but they're a special type of pious activity. Prabhupada writes, those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. For those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it is very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. So if you've got these problems, you can't do it. Only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulated principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reactions, can accept devotional service and gradually rise to the pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And skipping a couple of lines, that process of being this elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness in association of pure devotees. For in the association of great devotees, one can be delivered from delusion. So we find out that pious activities here are pious activities that are not just material pious activities, not sattva guna, but sudha sattva, which means they're pious activities that are in relationship to association with a pure devotee. Prabhupada writes, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Verse 2, that if one wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimukte. But one who associates with materialistic people is on the path leading to the darkest region of existence. Tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. So, this verse is a famous verse spoken by Lord Rishabdev to his sons. Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimuktes tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam mahantas te tasama chitta prasanta vimanyavam surida sadavoye. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. We see that today. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful, and they are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger, and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. And then Prabhupada writes in the purport, the human body is like a junction. One may either take the path of liberation or the path leading to a hellish condition. How one can take these paths is described herein. On the path of liberation, one should associate with Mahatmas. And on the path of bondage, one associates with those attached to sense gratification and women. So it is the association with the pure devotee. And what do these pure devotees do? They go to, like Srila Prabhupada, he's Krishna's ambassador of bhakti. He takes himself from the place where he is surrounded by Krishna at Radha Damodar Temple in Vrindavan. He's there in his environment. When Prabhupada's in Vrindavan, like so many pure devotees, they're not just seeing dusty streets and the pigs. They're not just getting harassed by rickshaw drivers who want to charge you too much money or whatever. They're actually able to enter into Krishna's pastimes. They're there. He takes himself out of there, brings Vrindavan with him, plants himself in New York City, and therefore gives his association to fallen conditioned souls, beginning the process here of Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes, which is the chance for persons who are Kaliya-like consciousness to associate with a pure devotee to build the bhakti samskaras to become pure devotees either in this life, if we're very fortunate, and really take it seriously, or certainly in another life. You can read in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there's never any a loss here in Krishna consciousness. Even if we fall down from some kind of from a state of actively engaging in Krishna consciousness, we will be able to continue in Krishna consciousness, and I'll use Prabhupada's words to how he exemplifies this as an eternal process. Once we're connected to the current flowing through the pure devotee. Prabhupada writes, or he speaks in a class about the association of pure devotees and how important that association is. This is from a Srimad Bhagavatam class given in Los Angeles in 1972 from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. And Prabhupada writes, "Therefore, unless the gross materialists or the worshippers of the temporary demigods come in contact with a transcendentalist like the pure devotees of the Lord, their attempts are simply a waste of energy. Only by the grace of the divine personalities, the pure devotees of the Lord, can one achieve pure devotion, which is the highest perfection of human life. Only a pure devotee of the Lord can show the right way of progressive life. So this is what real punya is, not just some kind of materialistic punya. This is somehow or other what Kaliya did in a previous life. Because although he made, the wives are saying, he must have done something, but it couldn't have been just like planting trees and helping old ladies across the street, or doing good things, opening soup kitchens or whatever pious, activity it is. It had to be a special pious activity of serving the great souls, because only pure devotees can show the right way of progressive life. Otherwise, both the materialistic way of life without any information of God and the life engaged in worship of demigods in pursuit of temporary material enjoyments are different phases of phantasmagoria. So whether or not we're scientific, I don't believe in anything. Like Kavi Chandra Maharaj, famous, he told me one time, he said he preaches in Japan. It's a hard place to preach, he says, because the people are very materialistic. And he said one of the responses that people would have to him when he would tell them, chant Hare Krishna, he said, oh, we don't need religion anymore. We've got technology now. We used religion before we had technology. Now we've solved all our problems. So whether one's this sort of materialistic, atheistic, technology, or one is a pious person worshiping demigods, or in the West, worshiping God like an order supplier, this is phantasmagoria, Prabhupada says. They are nicely, these types of people, they are nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita also. But the Bhagavad Gita can be understood in the association of pure devotees only, and not by the interpretations of politicians and dry philosophical speculators. This realization for a moment in the association of pure devotees like Shukadev Goswami prepares one's complete life for eternity. So by getting the association of a pure devotee, one's life is prepared, it's completely prepared for eternal life. So this is very important, because it says here, one has to understand this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, from the right source, not from, Prabhupada uses politicians or dry philosophical speculators. Like people will say, well, you should use the Bhagavad Gita, or you should use yoga, or these things to help improve your life, be happier. Well, there's no improvement of material life, really, because material life still, whether it's Indra or the Indragopa germ, it's birth, death, old age, and disease. And you can, like I've said before, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. It's not it's not going to improve, really. It may look a little better. It may feel a little better. As one person, my wife knows who said this, but I won't name who it was, said, money can't buy happiness, but it sure makes misery more tolerable. That was a family relative who was pretty cynical. But in any case, we have to understand how fortunate we are by getting the association of the pure devotee. And Prabhupada goes on to say how important this association is. And we can read now from a few words more of Prabhupada how this is working. And how it's working even though Prabhupada's no longer even on the planet exhibiting his manifest pastimes. He's no longer in Prakat Leela here. He's not in front of us. But his energy's working through us to the extent that his disciples are speaking Prabhupada's words, giving Prabhupada's message, being via media to the next generation. They're also providing that same sort of direct association with the pure devotee. Because this process is not limited to a certain time, a certain place, a certain person. This Krishna consciousness, Krishna has provided us with a completely transcendental process. And Prabhupada writes here, and I'll read, these are from letters, where he talks about his signing your ever well wisher in his letters. Prabhupada writes, I write at the end of my letters to my disciples, your ever well wisher, and as such, I cannot become otherwise than being ever well wisher of my disciples, even though they may leave me. That's a letter in 1968. Leave me. Even if you leave, he's still your ever well wisher. Prabhupada writes to another disciple. These letters are compiled without telling who the letters are to. This letter was written in 1967. When you left us, I simply prayed to Krishna for your return to Krishna consciousness because that is my duty. Any good soul who approaches me once for spiritual enlightenment is supposed to be depending on my responsibility to get him back to Krishna, back to home. The disciple may misunderstand a bona fide spiritual master, being obliged to do so under the pressure of Maya's influence, but a bona fide spiritual master never lets go a devotee once accepted. When a disciple misunderstands a bona fide spiritual master, the master regrets for his inability to protect the disciple, and sometimes he cries with tears in the eyes. How merciful. We connect with the Guru. I consider all of you as a representative of my Guru Maharaj to help me in this helpless condition. My God brothers did not help me, but my spiritual master has helped me. So do not think that I can ever forget you even for a moment. I pray to Krishna for your more and more advancement of Krishna consciousness. Be happy and execute more and more service for Krishna, and Krishna will accept you in his association. It's essential. The pure devotee, when he accepts the disciple, when Prabhupada accepts a person into his mercy, that mercy never lets go. And as I say, it's extended through his ISKCON association, his movement. You have accepted me as father, so I have also accepted you as my son, as my dear and real son. Relationship of father and son on spiritual platform is real and eternal. On the material platform, such relationship is ephemeral and temporary. Although I cannot give you anything as father, still I can pray to Krishna for your more and more advancement in Krishna consciousness. Your sincerity and service mood will always help you in advancing your genuine cause. I thank you very much for your acceptance of my guidance. My guidance means Krishna's guidance. I am very poor, and therefore I can pray only to Krishna for your guidance. Krishna is absolute, and we are all under his guidance, but the bona fide spiritual master is accepted as guidance because he is transparent via media between Krishna and the devotee. The devotee has no access to Krishna without the via media. And this via media is eternal. It's not like he goes away and is not around. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that if I simply have one moon, I'm successful. And of course he had one moon, Srila Prabhupada. And he also had many other great advanced disciples who also preached. But in a sense, Prabhupada was that one person who was able to really take the whole process and put it across the whole world. And what did Prabhupada pray for? He prayed for all his disciples, hoping that we would be able to somehow or another be that via media to him. This is the process, handing the mango from the top of the tree down through the disciplic succession so that it comes intact. If you throw it from the top, it'll be mush when it hits. But if you had it one step down, and we are like what is called, what Prabhupada said, the postal peon. If we simply, like the postman, deliver the message. Now, that doesn't mean we should be stupid or not understand the philosophy. It means that we should be understand how we should not change the philosophy, and we should be there's a term for persons who are like lawyers or real estate agents. They're called fiduciary agents, which means they act in good trust to represent their client. So the guru acts in good trust to represent his client, the disciple, to Krishna. And therefore, those of us who are coming in Prabhupada's line, we act in good trust to represent Prabhupada to others. And if we can do that, even if we may not be perfect, and we certainly aren't, I'm speaking for myself, I mean, it's tough to think about perfection. But if we can act in the line of disciplic succession, honoring Srila Prabhupada by extending his mercy to others, then that fiduciary representation is there, that acting in good trust. And I'll read one more. I may say that this practical devotion is the secret to understanding the Shastras. My Guru Maharaj used to say that for one who is not engaged in devotional service, reading all the books is simply like licking the outside of the honey jar. One who thinks the books are the thing is content in this way. But we should learn the secret to open the jar and taste the honey. In this way, if we can simply understand one book or one shloka, the perfection is there. Lord Chaitanya warned about reading too many books, although I see in America this is very popular, to get volumes and volumes of books and not understand one. Anyway, by sincerely working, by carefully executing the instructions of the spiritual master, you will be successful by Krishna's grace. I am always praying to Krishna for your advancement in Krishna consciousness, all of you sincere souls. By working for the spiritual master. Yes, the books are important, but the service to the spiritual master, that ahur vimuktes, that serving that the guru. And the last point I'll make, which is, and I'll make it very quickly, is that it's brought up in Prabhupada's, in the purport, where Prabhupada speaks about the third verse of Shikshashtaka, where he says that we should execute devotional service by being humbly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, thinking ourselves lower than the straw on the street, and not expecting honor from others. And this is the catalyst that will give us the opportunity to be the representative of Srila Prabhupada. To chant sincerely, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, not expecting honor, being tolerant, and giving respect to all others. And in this way, we can be good servants of Srila Prabhupada and give others Krishna consciousness. And I'll stop there. I know there's not much time, but question. Yes? All devotees are Mahatmas.